สวัสดีครับผู้ชมทุกท่านยินดีต้อนรับเข้าสู่บริการของผมเลดีวันนี้ผมมีสิทธิ์อีกแล้วนะครับที่จะอธิบายให้คนฟังได้เสียงสะในภาษาไทยมันคืออะไร Hello and welcome to articulation of vowels in Thai language. This lesson builds part of the course Thai Basis, which is a basic fundamental course on the utterance or pronunciation and articulation of Thai language. Have you ever been to Thailand or in a situation where you were able to actually speak Thai or use phrases that you've learned over the past weeks, months, years, or whatever, and you try to, buy food, buy clothes, go shopping, talk to people in the market, or asking for directions, whatever the situation may be, and the opposing person was basically confused when you asked the question, when you stated what you wanted to buy, or they didn't understand, or they were directly, asking you in English, and so on and so forth. If this happened to you and you asked yourself the question, why don't Thai people understand me? What am I doing wrong? Then this lesson might be for you. I'm not offering, a solution for everything. However, I have, or my experience over the past couple of years, whenever, observing foreigners talking Thai, I have observed that either it's a problem with tones or a problem with sounds, and which basically means the articulation of either vowels or consonants. And in this lesson, we are going to focus on the articulation of vowels, as the title of this lesson already indicates. Now, if you want, Thais to understand you properly, you basically need to have an idea of what vowels actually are in Thai. And this lesson is what might be helpful. At the very beginning, I would like to mention that I am not a linguist and I don't want to go into too much detail. Also, I don't want you to learn different systems and whatnot. I just would like to, kind of like visualize a concept of what way you may think when you think about vowels, not only in Thai but in any language. Let's say, with our vocal cords and our voice, our mouth, our tongue, whatever we use, we are able to, produce sounds, articulate vowels, and, utter different, letters, if you will, or different sound patterns. And each vowel on its own sounding produces a certain, produces a certain wavelength. And we can visualize this, for instance, here. Over a certain amount of period of time, a certain amount of waves are being, expelled by your vocal cords. And let's just presume that this pattern here shows or represents the vowel ah in red. And then a shorter wavelength would therefore represent a different vowel over the same period of time, of course, and it could be a, for instance. And what we actually do is the difference between a and a is not only, the way we form our lips, but also back here, the amount of pressure we exert on our throat. And anybody would say that there is not just a and a, these two wavelengths, but in between there are different wavelengths. So it's not just a and a, but there are some intermediate wavelengths in between those two. But if we just take a and a, we can represent it using different colors also. So from red to blue, and there's a very distinct border in between red and blue. However, in nature, it doesn't really look that way. In nature, much more than being just a and a as being two different segments on vowels being produced, instead of looking at it as red and blue with a distinct border, a, It much rather looks, as in color theory, like something like this. So where we have a continuous adaptation of color or of vowel from a towards e, or from red to blue, going over purple in this case. All right? But then again, also you wouldn't, presume that it stops at the top with red and at the bottom with blue. However, it continues into other colors, or if we adapt it to vowels, it continues to other vowels. So it could be a never-ending circular pattern aligned with colors that you can think of as being a gradual, alteration of color from red, blue, green, yellow towards red again, and you can go around it as many times you like. There is no end to it, so it's infinite. Okay, if we adapt now this mental picture of vowels being produced to the actual vowel sounds, we can and the vowels we are actually able to produce with our mouth and vocal cords, we can, align these within that gradual colorful pattern. Let's again take a and e, as we already assigned them to red and blue. But now in between red and blue there is different colors. In this case purple, for instance, and then also different shades of purple. And also between a and e there are different vowel sounds that could theoretically or actually in reality also be, described or represented by a vowel sound or by a vowel writing symbol. So if you try within your mouth to move from a to e, what you end up saying is a third vowel that is actually in use in Thai. So you don't just go but you try to, gradually adapt until you reach a, and it's more like I, I. So you gradually, adapt or form the mouth towards where you want to be when uttering a, coming from or the other way around. It doesn't matter. And what's in between? Maybe you already heard it. I. The vowel in between is eh. So we can display it here. I. You move over via eh if you come from a towards e. And so in the same way, basically you can complete the whole pattern moving clockwise with all the different vowels that are used in Thai language. What I would like to point out here is that the and u vowel are right next to each other in the green yellowish segment. The reason being is that I have not come up with a solution yet to include basically both of these within the same pattern, circular pattern of vowels following after each other, because for me it appears just to be too much of an abrupt change within the circular flow of utterance of these vowel sounds. If you come up with any, please let me know, and I will of course include them into this very lesson. But as for now, what I can offer is a circular pattern moving around the colorful display, or circle, either moving when you want to move from green to yellow, either moving from towards o via or via u. So let's take the first alternative, which is via and just move around the whole pattern. I made one circle now, and you can see that gradually I adapted the actual sound and we included all the different vowels. Let's do now the second option when we move from green towards yellow or from towards o. We do not go via on top but via u on the bottom. And you can of course do it whatever speed you want or whatever direction you want, but basically what you end up doing is, you know, this mouth movement that includes all the vowels. Whatever you end up doing, but this includes all the vowels that are in use. And of course you can see that only a couple of points are actually declared as being written vowels in Thai. Now let's have a look how this is in English. In English we have vowels as well. We have, for instance, the a vowel in written words at the beginning, at the end of words, in the middle of words, wherever they're used. However, in English we do not know about where exactly is it allocated on this you know, colorful reference. It can be to the left or to the right, towards yellow, towards purple. It's not quite sure. Why is it not quite certain where we have to allocate it? Because, well, let's take a look at a couple of examples. This way, for instance, some of you might read bath. Some of you might read bath. So already there, different, you know, dialects, different perceptions of how the vowels are. So it's very difficult in English. Another example could be album. At the initial position of the word, the a vowel read as album. At the end of the word, cinema. So album, cinema, same vowel, different articulation of the vowel. So how in God's name should, you know, somebody be able to, you know, memorize? You basically have to memorize how it's spoken. You cannot really learn just the articulation of the vowel and then you're good to go. No. Let's take a look at another word. Radar. Radar. Why? In the same word, following after each other. Once pronounced as a, one time pronounced as a. Same vowel. Confusing, isn't it? I would just say English is rather arbitrary. Arbitrary. Also, here again, two different articulations of the same vowel. Of course, it's not arbitrary, there are certain rules to it. However, we see that the spectrum of the vowel in English is quite broad within the color frame. How is that in Thai? Let's again take the a vowel. Whenever in Thai you read or you write an a vowel, it is pronounced or read as a. So it doesn't matter at the initial position, at the end of a word, within the word, short, long vowel. You will see how that works. Example. By the way, you don't have to be able to read and write Thai yet, but you can just orient yourself at the red, boldly, you know, printed letters, which represents the vowel. So here you read ta at the end of the word, or ban in the middle of the word, spoken as in this word, or dara twice in the same word, both times pronounced as the actual vowel it represents, or laksana, laksana, short vowels, but still it's represented or spoken in the way of the vowel that it actually represents. So it's right there in the very middle of the red color. It's always or ta, ban, dara, laksana. So basically, when you know how to read and write Thai, and you know how to pronounce or articulate the single vowels, you are able to read Thai. You can read anything, or there are of course always exceptions, but you can read anything even though you don't understand the word, and you will not make mistakes reading because it's always pronounced the same. Not like English, bath, bath, radar. Why not say radar or whatever? Okay, so Thai is very straightforward. That's what I like about Thai, and that's what I want you to know. And with that in mind, it's absolutely fundamental that you should realize that no way leads, around the Thai writing system. If you work with transliteration or transcription to English or whatever language it is, based on your own language skills that you have, be it English, be it German or whatnot, you will always, have that back in your mind, and you're never able to correctly articulate the vowels, and therefore people don't understand you. Let's take a look at a couple of examples of transliteration. For instance, here again, Thai word. Let's take gan, 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 gan. Thai vowel. Gan. Okay, how could it be represented? Someone could write K-A-A-N, and an American might say, okay, I can speak Thai, let's read it. Can, or something like that. And then a Thai on the right, this is what a Thai understands. Can. So it's a different vowel. It's not but it's the vowel. And how in God's name should somebody be able to, know what you mean if you say can instead of gan? It's a different word. It's a different vowel. It has nothing to do with the thing you want to say. Even though in English it might be, valid to say either bath or bath, even though it's the same vowel differently spoken and everybody understands, in Thai it doesn't work. That's why people are not able to understand what you want to say. Or you could also transcribe it as G-A-N, gan. You want to say gan, but then you read something like gan, or whatever you want to read, or how, because it's very open, because in English the vowels are not very strict. So a Thai might understand gan, and then again it doesn't mean anything, and he cannot make sense of it. Or sometimes you find your transliterations like K-A-R-N, carn, or whatever, con, and a Thai might understand what's written to the right, con, a completely different vowel which would be allocated between red and yellow here. So it's con, and no one would know what to make of it, and therefore it's very hard for Thai to understand foreign people when they're having this very strong accent coming from their mother tongue. And for that reason, I always encourage people, learn the Thai writing system, learn how to pronounce, how to articulate the Thai sound. You have to get familiar with the Thai sound system, the sounds of the vowels, the sounds of the consonants, and this is what it's all about. So as soon as possible, at an as early stage as possible during your Thai learning experience, try to forget about all these transliterations. All the books with transliterations, don't look at these. If I look at a book using transliterations, I can't read it. I only can read the Thai and the actual English translation, but whatever transliteration is, I pronounce it in a wrong way. I wouldn't understand myself if I just read a transliteration. I couldn't understand anything, and I regard it as being a good thing, actually. This is why it's absolutely fundamental to learn the writing system, and this is why very, very often in these situations, people, when you talk or speak Thai, don't understand you. So it's very simple. There are not that many vowels. You just need to learn how the articulation is, how they're written in Thai, and you are good to go. And a whole new world opens up for you. That's my recommendation. Okay, at this point I would like to thank you for sharing this lesson, and thank you for your support and for your trust in my lessons and whatnot. And I hope to see you again in the next lesson, articulation of consonants ขอบคุณมากครับสำหรับใช้บริการที่ผมสร้างมาเนี่ยแล้วเจอกันในบทหน้าครับสวัสดีครับ